throughout the world, which is mind-blowing. And for somebody to be up at 3:30 in the morning, thanks so much, Mark. Thanks for getting us started there. Excellent.
Yes, also from my side, Mark. Thanks very much.
Cool. So this is 5 more tips for collaborative Moodle courses, because last year we did a 5 tips for collaborative Moodle courses. There may be a recording available somewhere, but perhaps I can convince Michael so that we can record audio to the slides and just put it on SlideShare for those people who've missed it last year.
That sounds like a very good idea. Yeah.
Michael's, we could do that, couldn't we? Michael's going to quickly tell you what we're going to be doing. And then we'll get started with the first tip.
Right. To be honest with you all, we're supposed to be doing best practice here, and we forgot to put in an agenda slide. So I typed the main points in the text chat. So if you scroll to the beginning of the text chat, you'll see the 5 tips that we're going to, or 5 more tips for collaborative Moodle courses in there. We're going to start with something called simplicity and speed, that is making navigation easy. And then move on to visibility, a very important part of working together virtually, increasing visibility of our participants. And also then going on to 3, the framework for collaboration, talking about forums and wikis. And then point 4, the social aspects, including social aspects in your Moodles. And then the mysterious number 5, which is cake and pizza, and we'll be telling you a little bit about cake and pizza when we get to that, and we may have a surprise at the end as well. So from my side, welcome. Welcome from, I'm speaking to you from Cologne, Germany, downtown Cologne, and it's about it's 9:30 in the evening here, so it's still light out. Northern Europe still pretty light this time of evening. And I'm joined by Stefan Rinke.
Yep, that's me. I'm joining you from Mülheim, which is just about an hour's drive north of where Michael is presenting from. It's near Essen, which was European Capital of Culture in 2010. It's basically the car park of Essen and Düsseldorf and Cologne, to be honest. Yeah, so a very warm welcome, and Michael's going to tell you a bit more about what he does, not only in Cologne but around the world, really, and then I'll give you a bit more details about myself too. By the way, has the slide changed for you? Can somebody just either type a quick yes in the chat, or in case it's changed for you, I assume. Thank you, that's brilliant. Cheers, Mandy and Richard.
Right, thanks very, very much for that feedback. My name is Michael Tighe. T-I-G-H-E is pronounced Tighe. It's an Irish name, but also I'm Irish citizen and an American citizen, so I have dual nationality and am based in Cologne, Germany, from which I work mainly in virtual team leadership and virtual teamwork. That is, I coach and teach or train international teams, mostly for corporates like Bayer or Kraft Foods. I coach their leaders on how to work together virtually. So my perspective on Moodle, Moodle is one collaborative space, and I work with a lot of different collaborative spaces, so my perspective is probably more general than Stefan's perspective. So we decided to do today's presentation with me outlining some of the more general ideas, and then Stefan really getting down into the nitty-gritty and showing you exactly how to implement some of these ideas for collaborative work. So basically I work with team leaders who have to motivate their people. They might not have any formal authority over these people. They have to motivate them to work together. So intercultural aspects are also very important. Typically we'll have teams with Chinese, Indian, Europeans, and Americans and South Americans all working together around the world over different time zones. And so some of the team leadership principles of increasing visibility, working on trust, a lot of those ideas are the ideas that we put into this presentation here on working collaboratively, but with a really specific focus on Moodle. So that's it from my side. Now I'd like to hand over the microphone to Stefan, who's going to introduce himself.
Yes, if you want to pronounce my name the German way, it's Stefan Rinke. I very quickly gave up about the Rinke when I lived in England, because I found that people just end up calling me Stephen Rink anyway, so I listen to both names now. I'm what you could call a re-import. My wife's done what other people do with their Volkswagen cars. They buy them somewhere abroad because they're cheaper and then bring them back to Germany. And that's what my wife has done. I used to live in Britain since I was 23. And then I met my wife at a wedding in Germany, which I could only attend because it was the Queen's Golden Jubilee. So that's 10 years ago now that I met my wife. And we had a long distance relationship after that, and then she convinced me to move back to Germany. And those two logos that you see right next to my little face there, that's what I basically do with my professional time, my spare time. Sometimes it's both. Edumorph is a little project I started to promote collaborative learning, also with online tools, mainly using Web 2.0 technologies. And the Volkshochschule Essen, that's an adult education college that offers well, anything really. The main thing that people go to us is, or sometimes people need to go to us, is for German lessons for foreigners. But you can also redo your school leaving qualifications. For example, if you had issues at school, or you were kicked out of school, then you can redo your qualifications at our college. And everybody doing that has to use Moodle. So that's the only area in our college where Moodle is obligatory, and all the other courses, it's just an add-on. It's sort of added value. If people want to use that service, they can, but they don't have to. I work in the languages department there, and I'm also the e-learning coordinator. So I look after the Moodle for us. So I'm the admin there, and I do the updates and occasionally install a plugin as well. And but the main thing that I need to do is really teacher training. So I teach teachers how to use Moodle in a way that is not really copying chalk and talk lessons into an online environment, but trying to get sort of collaboration and cooperative learning going on in an online environment too. Okay, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them at the end, and I'm very, very happy to give you more information about myself. I'll pass you back on to Michael, who's going to tell you about the first...
Right, thanks, Steph. Our first tip for you today is the idea of simplicity and speed. Of course, many of you working with Moodle will be working with Moodle in blended courses, so that is, you get to see your participants perhaps sometimes. Perhaps others of you are working completely virtually, and whether you're working completely virtually or just partially virtually, I think it's important for us to focus on the need to communicate constantly when working in a virtual environment. If we're not communicating, we're simply not there. If you're going to be successful in combating the kind of fragmentation that happens when virtual communication is infrequent or ineffective, we really need to focus on communicating redundantly and repeatedly. Communication, however, doesn't only involve the content level, so perhaps your course content and your forum posts and so forth, but the message is also part of the context, and part of that context is the form of the delivery of your messages in Moodle. So we don't want to interfere with the clear transmission of the message, or by aggravating our users with interminable scrolling and inconvenient clicking around. We really need to focus on making their experience simple and speedy. And what better way than from the country that brought you Bauhaus and Form Follows Function, that Stefan would like to show you an extremely useful trick to make your communications with your learners much faster, more convenient, and especially from their perspective, a lot simpler. So Stefan, could you show us that, please?
Yeah, okay, so this slide's called Death to the SOD, not the SOD. I wouldn't swear in a presentation like this. The SOD, the scroll of death. Basically what Michael is saying is right. You know, you want people to be able to focus on the information that's being passed on the communication, on the collaboration, and not worry about the technology. And you know, I said that I work at an adult education college, and apart from, you know, those people redoing their school leaving qualifications, we've got quite a lot of, you know, people older than 50. You know, even one of the teachers that is using Moodle is well past 70, and you want to make, you know, using a Moodle course for the participants as easy as possible. You know, you don't want them having to click around, to scroll around and worry, am I in the right place, and so on and so forth. You want them to get to where they need to be quickly. And we showed you a couple of tips last time in the first one, but you know, this time I found a really brilliant trick, something that I've been meaning to do, or wanted to be able to do in Moodle for a long time. And you know, I was just barking up the wrong tree. I thought to be able to introduce a menu that will get people to the right correct section in a course. I would have to sort of set an HTML anchor so that I can use links that will sort of link to the anchor within a page, and that just, you know, just wouldn't work. And just by chance on Twitter I found a trick that Jason Renshaw, he's an English as a foreign language trainer, had posted, and I'm just going to very quickly show you how it's done. And in the Moodle course you will see two links. One is the video, the original one by Jason Renshaw, explaining how it works, and the other one is the German version for those people who like my German voice or who are perhaps German speakers. I'll tell you what it does basically. What you see here is a screenshot of a Moodle course that I'm using to communicate with all my languages teachers. So you can already see that I've got more than one language teacher for the languages English and Greece and Croatia, Greek and Croatian and Russian and Turkish. And for the other languages I tend to have only one teacher, so they don't really need a forum, for example, or a place where they can share resources. So what this little thing does here that you see at the top, it says directly to the subject forums. So you learn a little bit of German there as well. And what happens is, if a person clicks, for example, on the Croatian flag, they will get taken to the Croatian section of the course, as you can see. So what happens is you click on the flag, and that will make the other blocks, the other sections in the course disappear. And it is accomplished in a really easy way. What you need to do, sorry, let me just get back to here. What you need to do is you need to obviously add the menu by adding a text label. In the text label I added a table with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns and just one line. And in each column I just added these icons, which I've taken from a site that you will find also linked to in the course accompanying this presentation, that just offers free clip art and free photographs and things. And then afterwards you needed to add a link to all those pictures, and the link you get by, let me just move back one slide, by right clicking on the little square in the section that you want to link to. So you right click on the little square and then you choose copy link direct target, or whatever it is called in your browser. The words are slightly different depending on what browser you're using, and that's the link basically that you use to add the link to those different flags. And then when people, you save it, and when people click on that, it will take them straight to this section. Now that was quite important for me, because I didn't really want the poor Turkish teachers to have to scroll down to the very bottom just because their language starts with a T and is you know, is at the bottom of, at the end of the alphabet there. And it is simple, but I couldn't do it until I found this little tip there. So I'm using this now in all the courses where I already know the topics that are there, or when the teachers tell me, you know, I teach them how to do it. I set up one course together with them, and then they can do it next time themselves. Okay. So that was one thing that we're using extensively now at the college, just to make it easier for people to get to where they need to be. The other thing, you already saw the icons. I'm a big fan of using pictures in Moodle courses, and not just to make Moodle courses look nice, because, as Michael has said, you know, form always needs to follow function. But sometimes people do want to see all topics, and they do need a bit of scrolling, and that's why we use now in every every topic section description, we always use the icons there, if at all possible, so that when somebody has to scroll very, very quickly, they know what the section is about. So these are the sections for German, English and Maths in the courses for people redoing their school leaving qualifications. And is everybody using Moodle 2 here? Can you just type a yes, because we haven't got, in this layout, we haven't got the list of people there. If you're using Moodle 2, give us a okay. Brilliant. So for those people who are moving, what you see on the left here is one of the things that already sold Moodle to me, because what you can do is, when you rename those sections here where it says 1 and 2, if you give these a name, this name will then appear in the navigation block. You can see here the Deutsch is repeated in the course here, and you see the English there, and you can see if I then click on the little arrow, this folds up, and I get to see all the activities and resources that are in the section repeated on the left here, and that makes things also so much easier. Exactly, it's a section heading. Exactly, it's not a label. So you see on the next slide here, if you click on the little hand, you know, the editing symbol for the section heading, you deselect use default section name, you change the section name to something a bit more meaningful than just 1 and 2. You put an icon in. I found that those 50 to 75 pixels are a proper size, and you just save the changes, and Bob's your uncle, as we say in Britain. So, you know, those are just 2 tips really to make navigation around the Moodle site a lot easier. Things that that we've come up with, well, we've come across, I should really say, during the last year. You know, we've used pictures before, but the navigation menu, that is really something that I only found out in the last year or so. Okay, cool. Excellent. I'll pass you back over to Michael, who's going to talk about visibility of people in the course.
All right, that's tip number 2. We pointed out that many times we're fighting against this idea of fragmentation when working together virtually. In learning communities, we usually have to create a kind of context for our community members to express themselves, to reveal aspects about their identities that they feel are appropriate to a particular context that we as course creators or course designers have set up for them. Stefan and I spoke about the importance of helping members express their identities to foster kind of collaborative learning in last year's presentation, and it's a major topic that we usually include in all of our workshops that we deliver on collaboration and building trust. We used to pinpoint that the yellow Moodle smiley face was our arch enemy and your arch enemy, and we would urge course facilitators to get their members to fill out their profiles and upload face pictures so that people can get an idea of who they're actually working with. Also, like a psychological idea of who we're working with. Of course, profile texts and profile face pictures and are opportunities for people to express opinions in forums, for example. All those are important aspects for making personalities more visible, more apparent to the other members of the community. Stefan's now going to show you a more subtle way to increase the visibility of your members, or to help your members increase their own visibility in your Moodle community.
We call this course-specific profiles, which would be a great feature for Moodle. I tell you for one reason only. I mean, everybody else here, well, no, Ziggy, she's German. Everybody else here probably only uses English as a language in their Moodle courses. But you know, I was faced with a problem. We've entered into a European project with people from Spain and Denmark and Norway and Holland. And obviously the language that we're using to share our ideas and stuff is English. So my profile for the college is in German though, because most people, now it's a learning partnership because it's adult education. So it's the same, Richard, it's the same pot of money really. It's just a different name for the different thing. So the profile I've got on my Moodle page is in German because 99% of the people looking at it are going to be German speakers. But there I wanted people to be able to get to know me and find out about me, because people will be joining the project at different times. There's the institution project leaders, but they will be bringing different teachers to the different meetings. So we thought it would be really useful for them to find out about who's in the project and who's doing what and what are their interests and their specialities, and what main focus do they have in their life, in their work life. So we had to come up with a way of having a course-specific profile which could be in English, so that people could read this. And it works really quickly. Does everybody know what Moodle activity I'm using there on the screen share? Just type it in the chat. A little quiz here. Yeah, cool. You all know it's a glossary. And that's basically what I did. If you look, can you just tell me if you can read the print underneath the picture with those lots of hands there? If you can just type a yes, then that would be fine. Okay, so I'm not going to So I'm not going to read this out to you, but you can read for yourself how it's supposed to work. I do point out, however, again, that you see a picture at the top. So that picture is a slightly bigger version from the icon version of this picture in the Moodle course itself, so that clicking on it, very quickly they recognize, oh, it's the same picture, so I'm in the right place. Because sometimes when you've got a very packed Moodle course, it can be difficult to click on the right line, and you end up possibly where you don't want to be. So this is just another thing that makes it easier for people to be sure I'm in the right place. This is what they want me to do. So when people do this, you can fill in a profile as a glossary entry and defining themselves, so to speak. You can also use the glossary block, which is here on the right. And the glossary block features on every page within that Moodle course. So wherever you are in Moodle, on the right you always see this glossary block entitled Get to Know, and it just basically takes a random glossary entry, puts it on the right, and whenever the page is refreshed or you change the page, there's a different person there, so that when people are joining the project at different times, they've got people visible wherever they are in Moodle. They can just quickly read up about it. And the reason why I put here, please make sure to tick the box that says this entry should be automatically linked, is that whenever they write their name then, or somebody else writes their name in any Moodle activity or resource, it's auto-linked. So you can see here that the name Sabine here and Heike, they're blue. So when you click on Heike, you would get taken to Heike's glossary entry, so you could see Heike's profile, which is just a profile for this specific project. So this is really useful. So whenever, for example, Heike signs a forum post with her name, people can just click on it, and a little window opens showing Heike's little profile there. And people have, I've asked them, did they find this useful, and they said it actually is so much it's so interesting to read where people are coming from, what things they've been doing, so that you know, you all have got this, probably have had this, if you've ever been to a Moodle Moot and you've engaged with other Moodlers online before. I still remember the first Moodle Moot that I went to. You know, it felt like I knew all these people because I recognized them from their profile pictures on Moodle.org, and it was a really weird feeling. And they felt something similar. They told me, they said, "Oh, I've read so much about Sabine, I know her now." Okay. Oh, that's Richard. That was possible in Moodle 1.9 as well already. Actually, it was. I think it's been possible since Moodle 1.7. It could be that the admin had to switch it on, because there were filters that needed to be activated in the admin settings. So it's it really is useful. It's, you know, great. As you know, as I've told you, I'm a languages teacher, so this is brilliant. You know, when people define new words, and those new words somewhere turn up in a forum post or in a resource, you know, it's automatically linked, and people can just get to the definition there. Okay. Right, I'll pass you back on to Michael, who's going to talk about how you can agree on a framework for collaboration within a course.
Right, so for our third tip here, frameworks for collaborations using forums and wikis.
Michael?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
There?
Can you hear me? Please give me feedback in the text chat if you can hear me. Okay, thank you for the feedback. I guess Stefan is probably the only one who can't hear me.
Can you hear me, or can you hear Michael? Because I can't hear
Who
Michael.
can you hear? Let me phrase it that way in the text chat. Who can you hear? Can you hear both? Can you hear Michael? I'm Michael speaking now. Okay, thank you, Richard. Yes, thank you. Okay. Very good. So I'm really impressed by the clarity of your communication. Excellent. All right, thank you. So I'll just continue, and hopefully when I reactivate my microphone, Stefan will be able to hear me. Let me just try turning to deactivate my microphone and to reactivate my microphone in the hopes that Stefan will now be able to hear me. Okay, Stefan. In the face-to-face environment, we typically operate under largely similar assumptions as to how to cooperate with each other, what is normal, especially when we're in largely monocultural contexts. Still, when working as a team or in a collaborative community, it's useful to establish a kind of rough framework for working together. This becomes even more important when we work in virtual environments where facial expressions can't be read. We can't see if people are really agreeing with us or not. Feedback can be delayed sometimes, and trust is generally more difficult to establish. All of your members probably have assumptions as to what is expected of them, what you expect from them, what constitutes normal behavior with each other. For us as course facilitators, it's useful to motivate course members to talk about their assumptions and to make them more obvious, more transparent, to share their assumptions. I think you'll discover that there are major differences in understanding, especially in culturally diverse groups. It's a good idea to facilitate a discussion on how we want to work together. What are our rules of engagement, to establish a kind of code of conduct with your communities. And of course, rather than dictate the rules yourself, I think you'll achieve much more buy-in, of course, if that responsibility is passed on to the members so that they develop their own norms for working together. And Stefan's going to now take over and show you some ways of doing this in a Moodle course.
I'll be honest with you guys, I did hit the mute button instead of my microphone mute button, so that's why I couldn't hear Michael. I always tell my teachers that it's important to be honest and admit that you make mistakes too, so here I am, admitting, yes, I didn't quite master the technology. I'm blushing profusely, that's why the webcam stays off for at least another 10 minutes. Okay, what you see here is a wiki that we're using, or this particular wiki we've used during our first project meeting in this learning partnership. People, didn't know Moodle. I introduced Moodle to them because before we actually started the project, when we just got everybody together, we were just using emails, and it was a nightmare. You know what it's like. People don't know the difference between the reply to all button and the reply button, so people were having different pieces of information, but nobody sort of had the whole information anywhere. So I introduced Moodle to them as a tool for basically, keeping the multinational project run smoothly, and to make sure that information is passed down. And these are the results from a face-to-face session, though, I have to say. But the results were entered not by one person who sort of said, right, I'm going to enter the results, but people did this. I have to say, I entered the top, here where it's a table, because I thought people may not, straight away know how to use the wiki for the table. But those little things there, and there's even more down, if I scroll down. But screen sharing doesn't really work on with Adobe at the moment. They don't seem to like Linux machines as much as I do. But you see here that this wiki was used then to basically collect all the agreements and all the information and the gleanings from a face-to-face session, and it evolved. Those two last sessions, with the red circle there, they were edited quite late, and I have to add, not by me, but by people who didn't know Moodle beforehand. And they were quite keen to make sure that we actually use Moodle to disseminate results afterwards, and that our LP meet, the Learning Partnership meetings, will be inspiring. So we used this afterwards to make sure that we gradually come to a document, get a document where you get people to agree on what's being said by changing little bits, and eventually you've got a version that everybody feels comfortable with. So what you see here is basically our rules for engagement that we wanted to use. I've used this when I was still teaching at the university. When I came back from Britain to Germany, I used to work in the English department at the University of Bochum. And in the first session of my course, I said, we're all adults, and I don't want to do top-down, but I feel that we need a certain set of rules to just make sure that we reach really good results in our seminar. And then I got people, in groups, and they had to decide, what will make this seminar a successful seminar, and they had to write down, what they thought was important for that. And then they entered what they had into the wiki over the course of the week. I have also sometimes used things like Etherpad, because then you can do it simultaneously, which is if you have got lots of people in the same room, and most students nowadays have got laptops. I've gotten them to write it in the Etherpad and then transfer it to the wiki to give it a nicer layout, because you can't really do much layout work on Etherpad. Google Docs is better. Yeah, Google Docs has got a lot more formatting options, for example. Okay, but this is brilliant, because you can refer back to this wiki then whenever you need to. So that's a very helpful little thing that somebody told me during a Moodle Moot when I was still pretty new to Moodle, and it stuck, because it's just such a simple but effective thing to do. And I've had Moodle courses where people have then sort of said, what kind of response time do we have for forum posts? If somebody asks for information, what's the kind of response time? Do we respond within 24 hours? And if we don't know the information, will we say, I have read your post, but I haven't got the information yet, I'll get back to you tomorrow? These kind of things have all featured in wikis that I've used to discuss, to agree on those rules for collaboration, for example. Okay, right, that's just one thing that you can do. Michael, the social beast that he is going to tell you a little bit more about how to make
Okay,
Moodle
thank
a
you,
bit more
Stefan.
social.
Yeah, just one comment on the last point. I think it is, you know, if you're a course facilitator, it is important to revisit those rules after your community or your group or your team, however you want to describe them, has been working together for some time to see if any rules need to be added or if some rules can be deleted even. So just to visit those from time to time. Yes, let's look at social. Of course, fourth point, socials for Stefan and I extremely important. It's not only about rules, and I see you're picking who's who here, so we get to know each other a little bit better here as well in the brief amount of time we have available. But to promote a trusting context so that people feel comfortable and secure working collaboratively, of course, those are preconditions. We need to feel secure. We need to feel comfortable working together. We as course facilitators have to concentrate on providing the right context to allow people not only to concentrate on the formal learning tasks, we also have to give them opportunities to communicate informally. I'm sure many of you do that with coffee house forums and or pub forums and so forth. But we need to think about other ways that we can try to let people, you know, show off a little and to enjoy interacting with each other in various kinds of communicative situations. And one way, of course, to do this is to create forums that involve lateral thinking puzzles or other activities that offer kind of surprise results and give people opportunities to really shift perspectives and to re-examine perhaps conventional assumptions, and so that they can really enjoy communicating with each other. Enjoy meaning fun, to make your Moodle a little bit more fun and a little less dry. We'd like to involve you here in the live environment in a few lateral puzzles, just to get you sparked off on thinking about using lateral puzzles in your Moodles, so you can experience how these work in getting people to interact and build trust. We're sure you can figure out in a Moodle how to integrate these types of ideas. But just here, we'd like to, fun Moodle fun, yes, exactly. I put up a lateral puzzle here, Getting Away with Murder, and I would like you to use the text chat to write in your solutions to this this kind of puzzle here. What do you think? What do you think is going on?
Feel free to ask yes/no questions. We're happy to answer those so that you can perhaps get a better idea. Yeah, but your fingers are still moving on the keyboard, Ziggy. Okay, it's not the man killed himself, Chad. But what made you think that, Chad? Perhaps perhaps you can get a different idea because you were already somewhere.
Oh, Richard's seen this one
yes,
before. Okay, thank you, Richard.
Yes, it could have been himself because no one came in, but now we're actually talking about a real killer and not somebody who killed himself. Mandy's coming up with an idea. I can see that she's typing.
I'm sorry, Chad, not through the window.
Okay, Mandy, and no, not through the window.
Stefan, what do you think? Should we delegate the responsibility of explaining to Richard?
That's a good idea, actually. Yes, Richard, I will. Can I get you to? I'm just trying to see whether I can get the microphone to Richard somewhere. From this layout. No, Ziggy, that's not right either. Audio, microphone. Okay, I will just quickly need to change the layout so that I've got a list of attendants, and scroll down to Richard so that he can tell us the correct answer. And why is he not there yet? Okay.
I'm sorry, Mary, it's not a film. Richard says his microphone doesn't work, so perhaps in the text chat, Richard.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to disable the microphone rights to participants, just for the sake of audio quality.
Yes, thank you.
The security guard is not the dead man, Mandy.
No, okay. Richard, you want to type the solution in? Or perhaps just a hint?
My mic doesn't work. Is that your solution, Richard? Oh, I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry, Richard.
Right.
No,
that's a different solution, possibly.
Yeah, that's a different solution. Actually, the room itself is an elevator, so that's why all of these things make sense. It's an elevator.
So a man goes into the elevator, and there's no one in there, and you can only get through it. This one doorway on that level, on that floor, and then he sees a woman get in as well, and she screams. So yes, it's an elevator. Michael's prepared another one for you.
Another one? Okay, very quickly, I'll give you, let's say, 1 minute. I'll put time pressure on you. Of course, these work very well in the live online environment. Yes, a lift, Mary, sorry. I said an elevator.
Yeah, I've given up trying to teach Michael English, you know.
It's very intercultural of you, Mary, thank you. It is a vertical puzzle, not a lateral puzzle. Brilliant, Chad. So what was the original reason that little buttons were sewn on the sleeves of men's jackets? Any ideas?
Oh yes, you're going to the Moodle mode now, yeah. No, it's never too early for bad jokes.
No, they're not spares, sorry, Richard. Siggy knows but won't tell. What about the rest of you? There's Mandy coming, cufflinks. No?
No, it's not a joke. It's actually the real reason. If you believe our sources. But do men like to...
Not regularly.
I like Richard's idea though, because you know the more buttons you have there, then you could be a higher rank. But no.
Sicky.
Well, some do it when lots of people are watching. Yeah, but Richard is going on the same thing. You know, he's you just think of a couple of more disgusting things that men, obviously not us, but you know, men would do. You know, those old kind of different men from us.
Yes, Mary.
Yes, Mary, you've got it.
Okay, I think we have to give Mary.
Did you Google that, or did you come up with it? Because I know Mary's very quick.
I think we have to give Mary a piece of cake later on.
Yes, I think that, yes. Yes, okay, Mary. Good, excellent.
Okay. Mandy says she wrote it first.
That's brilliant, Chad.
I didn't see Mandy's. Yes, I'm sorry, Mandy. So Mandy actually gets the cake today.
Oh, gosh, excellent. Sorry,
Mandy.
Yes, you get the cake today, Mandy.
Okay. We'll do one more. Stefan, can I get you to read the colors? Or can I get you to read the colors of the words?
Okay, so the color of the print.
So the first one is green.
Let's see if I can do better
the word
in the evening than the morning. Okay. Okay.
Siggy wants a participant
green,
to read.
Red,
hold on.
Yellow.
Shall we let a participant? Yeah, I think we should. You've had practice.
Yes, I think we should.
Okay, so let me activate the audio.
Can I have
Let me activate.
Can I have Mary? Because I love her accent. I love her accent so much.
I've activated
So I need some more of that northern.
You'll have to change the layout again.
Ah, thanks, Mary. Excellent. I don't know. Do I have to give her the rights? I think
I've activated
I
microphones for everybody.
And I think, Mary, if you switch on your microphone, you should be able to speak, so that we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes,
we can hear you. Marvelous.
Hello? Right. Do I read the colour and not the word?
That's
Is that what
right.
I mean? So the first one is
You read the colour of the print. Yeah,
So,
the colour
for
of the
example,
letters.
the first one, the word is yellow, but you want to read green.
Okay. Here goes then. I'll start now. Green, red, blue, yellow, blue, black, red, blue, green, black, red, yellow, green, blue, black, blue, red, green.
Brilliant. Wonderful.
That was very good. Excellent. Oh, that saved me having to do it again. Smashing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Mandy even typed them.
Yes,
That's brilliant. Thanks.
Can we all give Mary some feedback in the text chat, please?
Let's have some applause.
Okay. Obviously, one like this is a little bit more difficult to do in your Moodle, but the other two, I think, serve as good examples.
I think you can do it with a NanoGong plugin and get people to record themselves doing
exactly.
it. That would be a good thing to do. Smashing.
We'll leave that up to our brilliant participants.
And here, Mandy
gets the cake.
Here is your nice piece of cake. It's a Belgian cake, Michael tells me, because he took the photograph. Or did you even make it, Michael?
No, I just took the photograph. I bought it. It was expensive enough. Right, let's...
do you want to introduce?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I just... the audio went dead for a second, so I was seeing if you dropped out or what was going on. Okay, this brings us to point 5, our final point, which is cake and pizza. And cake and pizza is all about giving positive feedback to encourage the right behaviors, of course, in your Moodle environment. Funny as it seems, providing people with food seems to be universally effective and an engaging strategy. Food directly appeals to the senses the way plain text simply cannot. And if you've ever tried this, you'll know that it's true. There are many opportunities in your Moodle course to provide a kind of micro-level feedback instead of giving kind of once-in-a-while monumental feedback. We need to create a general culture of feedback within the Moodle, and this works best when participants also feel empowered to provide their own feedback to each other as well. How exactly to provide peer-to-peer feedback could be a useful topic for a code of conduct discussion we talked about earlier. Even handing over the discussion to the participants is a way to engage them in peer-to-peer feedback and empowers them to make them more active, or to make them take on a more active role in shaping their own Moodle course. So it's more relevant to them and provokes more motivation to interact with each other. We think that you'll find that once you've created a kind of culture of feedback, things take on an interesting life of their own, and are definitely saves you in the long run a lot of work.
Yeah, it always works. You know, was it Chad or Richard who said? No, Richard said that teachers work best with food. It's true. Some of the Moodle courses that I use in teacher training are all about food and recipe sharing and stuff like that. Teachers, you know, they tend to be able to cook really well, in my experience at least. Let me just change the layout a bit so you can see the slide a bit better. You know, you can see here the who's who again, you know, the glossary that I showed you beforehand, but underneath grayed out, you get this little thing that says reward for everyone who's entered their details into the who's who. And you also see that it says restricted, if you can read the small print, but here next to the arrow it says restricted, not available until the activity who's who, please introduce yourself here, is marked complete. And I set the glossary to be completed as soon as one entry has been entered, because I just wanted people to introduce themselves in the glossary there. Because I didn't actually tell them what it was, just that it was a reward, people told me they were so curious that even this was just a thing that I put up after my nagging in the forums didn't work. Even giving away a piece of cake to the first person who entered their details into the glossary. In the forum I said, this piece of cake is for who was it? Vizenna. It's for Vizenna. So I thought that other people may just be curious what other presents I could come up with. But it was hard going because people were quite busy at the time and things, and so I said, I'm going to play a little bit with those conditional activities, and got them this little reward there. And I also introduced the reward in the forum as a brilliant example of how you can still achieve really, really good results with the limited resources. So I try to create a little bit of curiosity in the forum, and also by not actually telling them what the reward was. And the next slide will show you what it was. Just quickly type in the chat I do, not because I'm going to ask you to marry somebody, but if you know this video, just type in I do for me. That would be great, because I think it's pretty well known by now. Oh, Ziggy didn't know before. Okay, Mary. I put the link in the Moodle course so you can watch the video. Does everybody know the song though? Somebody that I used to know by Gotye, I think, an Australian musician. It's been played up and in the radio since, I don't know, the start of the year probably. Yeah, that's the guy. Exactly, Chad. And this band, Walk of the Earth, they're called. They did this really, it's a brilliant version of them playing the song. Exactly, playing the song on one guitar. And even that sparked off parodies as well, because then people changed them. They're dressed up as these 5 guys, or well, it's 1 girl, 4 guys. And they changed the lyrics where it says, they used to all have instruments, but the guy on the right with a hat, sold him off to be able to finance his drug habit and things like that. So no, there was just a little reward. And what was interesting was that when people entered their details to the who's who and were able to see the video, they actually didn't tell the others. They just said, oh, it's a really, really cool thing. You really have to enter your details. So they didn't let me down. They didn't just tell them, oh, it's this video, here's the link. But because they had to do something to be able to access the link, they didn't want the others just to be able to do it without entering their details in the glossary. So that worked really well in this project group with adults. And there's a really good session which is not a live session because the guy wasn't able to present for the technology let him down. But he's done a Moodle course on gamification, and I really, that's very much worth going into, because he's done an offline session on the concept of gamification in Moodle, which is a little bit of what I've done there. Okay. The last tip that we want to share is called Meta Your Moodle, and Mike is just going to introduce the concept, and I'm going to show you some primary examples how you can actually do meta with primary school kids already.
Thanks, Jeff. I think you all know it's so easy as a course creator or a Moodler to get caught up in creating all kinds of great interactive tasks and learning events that we sometimes forget to stand back and just look at everything from a distance, to look at the Moodle, to look at the kind of interaction that's going on. Sometimes we focus on the little things and are so down in the grass that we neglect to ask what we're doing in the larger kind of scheme of things. if we want our learners to be really engaged and to collaborate with each other effectively, we need to sort of get on aboard a helicopter and view things from above. We talk about this in virtual teamwork as a kind of meta-reflection, and this kind of meta-reflection, I think, is an integral part of your role as a course facilitator. Seldom will a course participant come up with a meta-level discussion on the course. So it is kind of your responsibility to initiate that discussion, to actually take time out, to slow down, and to initiate the discussions with your participants, such as how have we been communicating with each other? What are we not doing that we should be doing? Or questions of scale. So, for example, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are we now in our course? How successful is this course? How are we actually learning from our experience of learning together? What have we discovered about the way we work together, and what are we, or that we were not aware of before? Or, for example, if a new member entered our course, what would they say about our particular Moodle course culture? How would they describe it? How could we make our collaboration with each other much, much worse, for example? So a kind of upside-down brainstorming to do a meta-level reflection on the course. These are just a few examples of the types of questions that can provide us with a kind of fresh perspective on what we've been doing and help bring our Moodle collaboration to new heights, if you'll pardon the pun. And Stefan, I'll hand over the microphone to you.
How fitting, talking about new heights. I'm 6'9", by the way, so that's 2 meters and 4. So I'll take this to new heights now as well. This is from another glossary. Annette, my wife, couldn't resist any longer. She had to start Moodling in her primary school about 6 or 8 weeks ago, because I kept telling her what a wonderful resource she was not using. And I said, come on, I'll get you a course that you can play with, and then you can talk about what you've been doing in your school and see whether it's going to be a part of your school as well. I will be kind enough to translate this for you. The question was, what have you learned since we've been, what have you learned because we have started using Moodle? Okay, Chad, it was great having you. Thank you. And the first one says, Moodle is great, written by Daniel. And he said, I learned through Moodle also to be able to learn from home. It's great fun to also learn on days on which I haven't got school. It's also good to know what other people are doing in their free time. Because the writing exercise that they did beforehand was just after the Easter holidays, and they had to tell people what they were doing in the Easter holidays as well. And Liska, a girl, has written, through Moodle I learned that one can have fun while learning. I also learned how to use computers. Learning is fun. Moodle is a wonderful thing. And just another example by Marina. Through Moodle I learned using computers. I can do maths every day, especially when I've forgotten something. Moodle is a great thing. So even primary school kids can do, can do meta. There are various ways. The best thing really is a lot of the things to ask open-ended questions in a forum and ask them, which things they would not want to miss in Moodle, which things make this Moodle course great. But also, as Michael has said, how could we completely mess everything up? What would we have to do that? This is a really great way, and it's also a great way. A lot of the time I find I get information by asking questions about the sessions that I used to teach face-to-face, when I didn't actually know this was happening. A lot of the time when I got the students to write blog entries about the sessions that they had with me, I found that what they actually learned wasn't really what I'd intended them to learn, but they learned lots of other useful things. But also found that, you know, sometimes what you can mention in passing, you know, very quickly, where you just didn't make a deal of it, you know, that sticks nevertheless. You know, I can still remember this one sentence that I said, and you know, that featured in virtually all the blog posts. So it is important sometimes to just ask, you know, how's it, you know, what do you particularly like, what can we do better, what would you like even more, things like that, and just get them to talk about the way they're using Moodle and the way, you know, talk about the way they're talking as well. So that is definitely worth doing it. Yeah, you're right, Richard. It's mad sometimes, isn't it? You know, you spend ages trying to get this one point across, and then you've got this one thing that happened, that just stuck with them. Okay, we're nearly on time, just 3 minutes late according to my clock. There's still time for questions and comments, so anything that you want to ask, anything you want clarifying, anything you want more details on, you know, this is your chance. Very, very happy to take questions from you guys. I can see Mandy's typing. Yeah, I think Thomas told me that I'm taller than him. I just read your comment in the chat, Mary. Oh, thank you, Manny. But Thomas is a lot slimmer than me. That's because I don't do marathons. Any more questions? Anything you would like to add? Don't forget that I've put some links for you into the course room, so you'll find there the link to the video, of course, so that you can catch up with that version of somebody that I used to know, played on one guitar by 5 people. And I've also put there the links to the videos about you know, setting up a navigation menu to avoid the scroll of death, and using, you know, icons and pictures. It's also got links to sites with free clip arts that I bookmarked on Digo, so whenever I find something useful I bookmark that on Digo. Thanks, Mario, that's brilliant. Yes, Richard, you know, the Moodle moods are brilliant. It's, you know, I wish they would occur more often in my area, to be honest. That would be great. Now, I just said that whenever I find something useful, I put it on Digo. I will just put in the chat, I will put the link to my Digo bookmarks, and there's an RSS feed for that. So if you want to, you can subscribe to the RSS feed and see whenever I bookmark something, and you can even get a different RSS feed for just a keyword for Moodle, for example, things like that. You can also find me on Twitter. I advise you not to, sorry, that's my username on Twitter. The Edumorph, there's also an Edumorph Twitter account, but I try to keep it mainly in German, because my German, you know, the German followers were complaining that I was posting so much in English. So I started the Edumorph one as sort of a business account, so to speak, and that's mainly in German. Okay, so you can get in touch through Twitter as well if you want. Right, Michael, anything you want to add? Anything I've forgotten? Okay, Michael seems to have had an issue with the connection. I can just see that he's gone offline. Yes, Ziggy is right. You know, there'll be a Moodle Moot in Munich, and that is definitely a good place to be. Not just because of the beer. You could actually travel down, couldn't you? You know, you can try and see where the Dutch-Belgian Moodle Moot is first and do a stop over there. Then you can come and see me in